Imagine you're sitting around the dinner table, laughing about the latest family drama when suddenly, your mom slaps a message on the group chat that makes everyone freeze mid-laugh. It's not just any message, it's a divorce notice sent to her ex-husband, and it's as if someone hit the send button on a bomb instead of an email. The room goes silent, and you can practically hear the air getting thicker with confusion. What was that? Was it a joke? A prank? Or did your mom just become a real-life Shakespearean tragic heroine? The message hits like a ton of bricks, leaving everyone in the group chat speechless. Your cousins are scrolling through their phones, trying to figure out if they're dreaming or if this is some kind of cruel April Fool's Day setup. The aunt who was just telling jokes about marriage now looks like she's been hit by a truck. Meanwhile, your dad is staring at his phone with a mix of disbelief and maybe a hint of regret, wondering what he did to deserve this fate. It's not just shocking, it's like the universe decided to throw a curveball right into the middle of family dinner. The first reaction? A bunch of question marks flying across the chat. Wait, really? Is this for real? Did she just do that? The confusion is palpable, and it feels like everyone is trying to figure out if they're in a movie or if their lives have officially become a reality TV show. Your little brother starts typing, "Is this a prank? Because I'm not ready for this," while your older sister is already Googling how to prepare for family chaos. It's like the group chat has turned into a live feed of a sitcom gone wrong. But then, something magical happens, everyone starts laughing. Not out of disbelief or confusion, but because the absurdity of it all is too much to handle. Your cousins are cracking up at the sheer randomness of the situation, and even your dad, who was initially stunned, starts chuckling at how suddenly everything changed. It's like a comedy of errors in real life, and for a moment, everyone forgets about the divorce notice and just enjoys the chaos. After all, what's life without a little unexpected drama? As the laughter fades, the group chat turns into an open forum for opinions. Some people are genuinely confused, others are trying to understand what happened, and a few are already debating whether this is the beginning of a new chapter in family history. Your mom, on the other hand, is probably busy typing up the next message, ready to explain everything with her signature blend of honesty and drama. It's clear that this isn't just any ordinary moment, it's a turning point in the family story, and everyone knows it. The moment the divorce notice hits the group chat, it's like a storm rolled in on a sunny afternoon. The kids are thrown into chaos, some are confused because they didn't even know their parents were considering splitting up, others are upset because they feel like their lives are being uprooted without warning, and some are just trying to make sense of the situation by asking questions that sound more like puzzles than actual inquiries. One kid types, "Wait, so does this mean we're moving?" as if it's a normal thing to ask after a text message about divorce, and another responds with something like, "Does this mean I get a new sibling? Because my mom said something about getting married again." The confusion is palpable, and the chat turns into a mix of panic, curiosity, and misplaced hope. Some kids are trying to be brave, pretending they don't care, but their words give them away. One girl types, "I guess I'll just have to deal with two moms now," which sounds more like an acceptance than a joke, while another boy tries to sound cool by saying, "This is basically the worst thing that could happen, right? Like, what's next, my parents getting divorced and then getting married again?" It's clear they're trying to process everything in real time, but their attempts at humor only highlight how little they understand about what's happening. Meanwhile, others are just trying to figure out where they stand. One kid asks, "Does this mean I can pick which parent I want to live with now? Because I really like my dad's pizza," and the chat explodes into a flurry of responses that range from supportive to sarcastic. The emotional spectrum is on full display as kids express everything from anxiety to anger. One kid types, "Why didn't you tell me earlier? I would have helped," while another says, "This is so unfair. Why can't my parents just be happy together?" The chat becomes a place where unfiltered emotions spill out, some kids are crying in the background, others are trying to act like it's not a big deal. One kid even jokes, "I guess I'll have to start calling my mom, mom, and my dad, dad, again," which sounds more like an effort to cope than anything else. The mix of confusion, sadness, and attempts at humor is both heartbreaking and hilariously raw, as the kids try to navigate a situation they didn't ask for but are now forced to deal with. As the chat continues to unravel, it becomes clear that these children aren't just passive observers, they're trying to make sense of a world that's suddenly changed. One kid writes, "I wish this was a movie and I could just watch it from the outside," while another says, "This is like the worst episode of The Office ever. Why do we always have to be the ones who get thrown into the middle of everything?" The emotional roller coaster is real, but so is their resilience. Despite the chaos, some kids are trying to support each other by sharing their feelings and offering comfort in the only way they know how, by typing messages that might not make sense but somehow feel like they do. In a way, it's both heartwarming and heartbreaking to see them try to handle something so big with such small tools. The group chat becomes a reflection of the family dynamics at play, revealing just how much these kids are trying to understand their own emotions and those of their parents. One kid types, "I don't know if I can trust my mom anymore," while another says, "I wish this was all just a misunderstanding." The mix of vulnerability and confusion paints a picture of children who are caught in the middle of something they didn't ask for. Yet, even as they struggle, there's an underlying hope that things will get better, whether that's through support from each other or a chance to rebuild their relationships with both parents. It's a reminder that while the situation is messy and emotional, these kids are learning to navigate it one message at a time. As soon as the message hits the group chat, "I'm filing for divorce, and I don't want to talk about it anymore," the energy in the thread shifts dramatically. Suddenly, what was once a casual family group chat turns into a battlefield of opinions, with relatives firing off messages like they're participating in an intense game of "What would you do?" The mother's ex-husband, who had been scrolling through memes and planning his next grocery run, is now staring at his phone with the same look someone gets when they accidentally walk into a room full of strangers arguing about politics. His initial reaction? A mix of confusion and panic, as if he just realized he's missing a crucial episode of his favorite show. The relatives, on the other hand, are all over the place. Some are stunned into silence, their fingers hovering above their keyboards like they're waiting for a signal to shoot something. Others are quick to react, throwing out comments that range from, "Wow, really?" to, "You never saw this coming." The aunt who always insists she knows everything about everyone's love life is now demanding details. "Did you two fight over the last pizza slice or did it just happen naturally?" Meanwhile, the cousin who recently posted a meme about marriage being a team sport is now sending screenshots of that very meme with a caption reading, "Team breakup, 1-0. The mother's ex-husband, still reeling from the news, tries to make sense of the chaos. He starts replying to messages in a tone that suggests he might be trying to explain things, but it's clear he hasn't processed what just happened yet. His responses are fragmented and full of, and like, as if he's in a slow-motion version of reality. One relative chimes in with a sarcastic comment about how the divorce was inevitable, while another suggests they all need to take a break from the group chat for a few hours. The mother, who had sent the message with a mix of resolve and resignation, is now watching the fallout unfold like she's witnessing a reality TV show that she didn't sign up for. As the messages keep coming in, some supportive, some judgmental, and others just plain weird, the group chat becomes a mirror reflecting all the unresolved feelings everyone has about the marriage. The uncles argue over who was more at fault, while the cousins try to play matchmaker by suggesting potential partners for the ex-husband. Even the grandparent who usually keeps things light adds a comment that's both wise and awkward, "You know, sometimes the best thing you can do is just walk away." The ex-husband, still caught in the whirlwind of confusion, tries to keep up with the conversation, but it's clear he's more focused on figuring out how to respond than actually understanding what's going on. By the time the group chat settles into a hushed silence, everyone too stunned or exhausted to continue, the damage has been done. The initial shock has given way to a mix of emotions, sadness for the couple, frustration over the lack of warning, and a strange sense of relief that it's finally out in the open. But as everyone takes a moment to process what just happened, one thing becomes clear: this wasn't just a divorce notice, it was a wake-up call for everyone involved, reminding them that even in the closest of families, some things are bound to break, and sometimes, breaking is the only way forward. As the family group chat continues to scroll with messages from stunned relatives and well-meaning friends, it's clear that no one is really sure what just happened. The initial shock has settled into a kind of collective confusion where people are trying to piece together the timeline like they're solving a puzzle with missing pieces. Some members of the chat are asking questions that range from the practical, like, did he actually sign it? To the emotional, such as, is this real or am I dreaming? Others are offering advice, which is probably not helpful but still being shared anyway, like, you should talk to a therapist, or maybe you can get back together. The chat becomes a mix of concern, curiosity, and occasional sarcasm, with some users even making jokes about the situation in an attempt to lighten the mood. Meanwhile, the ex-spouse side of the family is trying to process what just happened. They're asking questions like, why did she do this, or was there any warning signs, while others are offering their own take on the situation. One cousin suggests that maybe the divorce was inevitable and that it's better for everyone involved, but another relative insists that they should have fought harder to save the marriage. These conflicting opinions create a kind of chaotic conversation where people are trying to make sense of something that feels too sudden and emotional to fully understand. It's like watching a movie without knowing the plot twists ahead, and no one is sure if they're supposed to be laughing or crying. The chat also becomes a place for people to share their own divorce stories, hoping to offer comfort or insight. One aunt shares how she stayed married for 20 years before realizing it was never going to work, while another uncle jokes about his own failed marriage by saying he divorced his wife because she didn't make enough coffee. These personal anecdotes are meant to be supportive, but they also highlight the absurdity of the situation in a way that feels both relatable and ridiculous. It's easy to see why people are trying to find some kind of normalcy in the chaos, even if it means joking about something that should be taken seriously. As time passes, the conversation shifts from confusion to concern for the children involved. Parents start asking questions like, how will this affect them, or, will they have to move, while others are trying to figure out how to explain everything to their own kids. One parent suggests that maybe it's best not to mention anything until the situation is officially settled, but another insists that honesty is always better, even if it means dealing with the emotional fallout. These discussions reveal how much of an impact this sudden divorce has on everyone involved, and how difficult it is to navigate a situation where no one really knows what comes next. In the end, the group chat becomes a reflection of the entire family's struggle to process something that feels too big to handle in real time. It's a space where people are trying to make sense of their emotions, offer support, and sometimes even laugh at the absurdity of it all. While no one has all the answers, the conversation continues as a way to cope with uncertainty, proving that even in the most chaotic moments, there's a kind of shared humanity that brings people together, even if just for a little while. As the conversation winds down, the emotional weight of the announcement begins to settle like a storm that has finally passed but left behind a sense of unease. The family members sit in silence, processing what just happened, this moment where a divorce was declared not in front of a judge or through legal documents, but in the middle of a group chat filled with memes and grocery lists. It's surreal, like watching a movie where the plot twists faster than you can scroll through your notifications. The shock is palpable. Even the most stoic members of the family are now staring at their phones as if they might find an explanation hidden in the latest message thread. The aftermath isn't just about who said what, it's about how everyone feels. Some may feel a mix of relief, others guilt, and a few might be left questioning whether this was truly the right decision or if it was made in haste. The group chat, once a place for lighthearted banter and shared memories, now serves as a stark reminder that even the strongest relationships can falter when communication breaks down. It's like trying to fix a leaky faucet with just a hammer, you might make things worse before you find the real issue. In this moment of reflection, it becomes clear that no one is immune to the emotional fallout. The children are left confused, the parents are grappling with their own feelings, and even the extended family members who weren't directly involved feel the ripple effect. It's a reminder that life doesn't always follow the script. Sometimes, the most dramatic plot twists come from the most mundane situations. This isn't just about a divorce, it's about how one decision can change the course of multiple lives in an instant. The silence that follows is heavy with unspoken words and unresolved emotions. Some might try to fill the void with jokes or light-hearted comments, but even those efforts feel forced, like trying to play a game of charades when you're too exhausted to pretend. It's during these quiet moments that the true impact of the decision starts to sink in, how it alters not just the relationships between the individuals involved, but also the dynamics within the entire family unit. As the dust settles and the initial shock begins to fade, there's a collective understanding that communication is everything. The group chat was supposed to be a place for connection, yet it became a stage for an emotional upheaval. This moment serves as a wake-up call. No matter how close we think we are, words can cut deeper than any blade, and silence can speak louder than any argument. It's a lesson in empathy, patience, and the importance of taking time to truly listen before making life-changing decisions.